So, as you saw, I made a batch of American buttercream. I don't need a lot. This is a naked cake, so it is pretty much not going to have very much icing at all on it. So I'm just going, my cakes turned out really good. They're really flat. I'm not going to trim anything. I'm just going to put some icing in the center. Gonna have to put some on it. It still doesn't want to stay still for me. That's okay. We will make it work. Typically with a naked cake, there is a lot of icing in the middle. American buttercream, in my opinion, is just too sweet for that. It wouldn't be a pleasant cake to eat. So I'm just going to do a small layer. There are going to be 3 layers on each tier, so there's going to be plenty of icing and cake to go around. This is a paid cake, customer delivery for this tomorrow. I'm just going to put this one this way. And a decent size blob of icing. I should have got a smaller palette knife. I don't know, this is the one that I grabbed. It would have been easier for me if I had gotten a smaller one. So, just smooth it out. Everything to be nice and even. With the naked cake, there's very little icing on the outside. So, hopefully my layers are even, because you certainly will be able to tell if they aren't. Got to bring everything to the edge. This one, upside down. This is going to be a really tall cake. I'm just going to put a thin layer on the top because I do have a second layer to put on it. I'm not going to be really worried about how it looks or anything. It just need glue to hold it there. I'm going to have to find a smaller palette knife. I'm going to go ahead and give this a rough crumb coat. I actually may have to make up another batch of icing. I'm not sure yet. I may have to thin the icing out a little bit. It is a little bit stiff. That's why I'm having such a hard time spreading it. I'm trying to stay in the picture. I hope that I'm doing that. If not, I either have a weird video or no video, so This cake's going to have sprinkles on the bottom and a light pink drip on the top. So yeah, I'm enough to make some more icing, so let me do that real quick and let me find a good palette knife. Okay, I used what icing I had left in the bowl and finished this up while I was making the other batch. Just a nice light coat on it. It's just a crumb coat, just to keep just that. It keeps the crumbs out of your icing. I feel like it's leaning. I'll have to get back and eyeball it. I don't know, maybe not. Okay. So I'm gonna pop this one in the fridge. Let it just sit in there while I do the other one. And I think that I want to, it's going to be a really, really tall cake. So I think I'm actually going to cut these in half. I said I wasn't going to do that, but I think I am, at least a little bit. So just hold your arm tight against you. Put a really sharp serrated knife up against the cake. And this is where the turntable is your best friend. You just slowly turn the table. And then when you get to your first cut mark, you just put pressure and slide. And boom, cake is off. Okay, I'm going to do that with all three of them real quick. I mean, I guess an alternative was I could have just done 2 layers, but I think 3 would be prettier. And I did that one a little smaller than I wanted to, so I'll just put that one in the middle, and there'll be a tall one on the top and on the bottom. And I told my brother earlier that there were no cake scraps, but I lied. Delbert, you're getting some cake scraps, maybe, if they survive. So this one again, I'm just going to go right around the edge. Nice and slow, just spinning it. I'm holding my elbow tight against my body so it stays level, nothing moves. So as you spin, it just cuts right through it, and right there it went right through the middle. See? Okay. So I did find a smaller palette knife. I still have smaller ones somewhere. I don't know where. Somewhere in my kitchen, I have smaller. They're probably in my toolbox, and I didn't go that far. I just looked here in the table. So again, nice even layer of icing. Get that off of there. Just making sure I go all the way to the edges. It's really important on a naked cake because you're going to be able to see the layer of icing, the layer of cake, the layer of icing. So we just want to make sure that we have everything nice and even. Now I'm going to put the smaller one in the middle. Do it this way. And you can see the big chunks of strawberry. Big chunks of strawberry in the cake. It's a nice strawberry cake. And no, I won't share my recipe. Sorry, maybe someday, but not right now. So this one's going to be a little different because that middle layer is so small, but the top layer will be wide, so it will be uniform, so it will be okay. Actually, I think I'm going to pull these two off. I want some more icing in there. I know, I call it frosting and icing. I don't know why. I don't know. I guess it just depends on what comes out of my mouth, because theoretically it's the same thing, but there we go. I'll smash that on. Okay. This is just a damp towel that I have. My hands are very clean. Otherwise I wouldn't be. I would have gloves on if I was worried about the cleanliness of my hands. I have washed them probably 5 times, so, and that was just since I stopped making the icing. Back in the bowl. Okay, let's do this. Okay. Like I said, we just need a thin layer. This is our crumb coat. I always have a really hard time with these small cakes. I don't know why. I can never get them to stay on the center. They always want to scoot, and then of course it doesn't do any good. I got some crumbs in there, so I'm going to pull it out and put it on the knife. It wants to scoot out of the center, so when it turns, it doesn't turn evenly. And then I get all wonky. But that's okay. We'll make it work. This does not want to spin for me, so I'm going to do it this way. There was a lot of crumbs in that, so I'm just going to get rid of it. I don't want to put it back in my bowl, because this is also the icing that I will use for the end, so I don't want crumbs in it. And I know it seems weird that I'm putting all this icing on for a naked cake, because yes, I am going to take most of it back off, but I want it to be smooth. I don't want it to look weird and unfinished. I want it to look like it's supposed to be naked, not it was accidentally naked. Okay. Okay, I'm going to clean up my knife real quick, and then I'm going to put that one in the fridge and take the other one back out. It should be, I really just set it in there while I was working. It doesn't need to chill a lot, not for any amount of time, so. Clear my table off here. I don't need these cake scraps, so I'm going to move them over to the stove. I probably have water all over the front of me now, but that's okay. Okay. So I'm going to set this one down. I want to clean up my board, so. just going to take my wet cloth here and wipe it down. And after all that, and then I'm going to put some more icing back on it. Just a little blob to keep things from scooting. And for me, I don't know about anybody else, but it's always easier for me to run my palette knife under a cake in order to pick it up. And try to get it as center as possible. Okay. I always start icing a cake at the top. You do top, sides, and then you have to come back to the top. So it is a naked cake, but I still want icing on the top of it. So I'm going to put a nice layer. Still doesn't want to cooperate and stand still for me. But yeah. So it'd be a lot easier if my cake would stay put. Doesn't seem to want to do that, so. What I need is a little piece of rubber to put under it, and I have some somewhere, but I cannot for the life of me find them. Don't know. I lose things all the time. I don't know how I lose anything. I mean, it's not like there's 15 people that live in my house. There are only 2. And if I asked Joe about it, he would ask me what the heck that was. So, or tell me he had never seen it. Didn't even know we owned one. 90% of the time. So, like I said, I'm just gonna smooth a little bit on here. One of the things I'm doing as well by putting on icing is I'm smoothing out the sides. So if there's a bump here or there, it will take care of it. I'm also going to need a layer of icing at the bottom in order to hold sprinkles. So I'm going to do that as well. I always try to cover my cake boards with icing. I may put a little spot on the frosting when I move it or something, but I would rather do that as for you to see. I'm so sorry, my nose is itching like crazy. I don't even know if you can see that I keep doing that. Yeah, anyway, I always like to cover my cake board. I don't want to see plastic, or in this case cardboard, sticking out from under my decorated cake. I mean, what is the use of that? That's not attractive. That's not pretty. Sorry, I'm gonna have to walk around to make sure that I'm still in the frame. Yeah, I keep moving the cake, and so I just want to make sure that I'm still where I need to be. And I'm gonna have a little spot here on the side that I'm gonna probably actually going to fast forward through a lot of this, so you won't have to listen to me ramble on. Just going to smooth up the edge. Hopefully I have a light in the fan that I don't mess it up like that. Sometimes I don't have a very, but that's okay because this is a naked cake, so just have to fill in that spot. Right here, put a little more icing there and there, and bring the edge back out. There we go. I'm happy with that. Okay, now when you're making a naked cake, basically I'm going to scrape the icing off. If I put the scrape against it like this and go, it'll have a bump. So I start to spin. Another reason why I really want to be in the center. Let's see if I can get it a little closer to the center. Okay. So I'm going to start to spin, and then I'm going to put my knife on. Or my scraper, it's not really a knife. And every time I stop, it's going to make a bump. So I'm trying not to do that, but again, I did not get it in the center. So scrape my icing off. I can't really see what I'm doing, so I'm going backwards so that you can see what I'm doing. So I have to wait till it turns around to see if it's where I want it to be. Yeah, I'm scooting it off the board, so let me get it back up on the board. Here we go. I like it. I don't know if it's quite as naked as what she wanted, but I think it's in a good spot. Go around that edge one more time. Okay, I'm happy with that. I'm going to leave that alone and clean up the top a little bit. There is going to be another layer on here, so I'm going to be putting some straws in it for support. I have to take this, I'm going to be going about 45-50 miles, so doesn't really matter there in the middle because it's going to have a cake sitting on the top. This cake is also going to have a drip. I think I showed you that. Okay, so just going to wipe off the edge. I don't use paper towels or napkins. I use bandanas, so that's why you see me using a bandana so much. Just going to clean up my cake board, or my cake turntable, right next to the board. I want to get as much of this off as I can. And I'm going to go ahead and put my straws in. Yes, I stole straws from Brahms. Actually, we ate there one day and I told my husband to grab me a couple extra straws because I needed straws for my cake. So the easiest way I know of is to just go for it all the way to the bottom, and then I'm going to lift up and cut it off. Brown straws are apparently pretty tough because that one didn't want to cut. And then I'm just going to use this as a guide to cut the other two. Seems like it will be easier. Wow, those are really tough straws. Okay, goodness. So I'm going to put them just in a triangle pattern. And this will support the cake on top. Actually, let's see if I have any more straws because I'd really like to have a couple more. I'm going to move you, sorry. Well, I don't have brums, but I have a couple from McDonald's, so that will work just as well. Since I don't know how long the McDonald's straws are, I'll do the same thing again, all the way down, and then pull it up so I can see where the icing was. So, oh, McDonald's straws are not nearly as tough as Brahms straws, just so we know. And it looks like I pushed them down in there quite a ways, but see if I can show you. I just actually put them down to the top of the cake. That is just icing. Put this one in the middle. See, they're not very... Sorry, I'm on the tripod, so not very easy to do. But yeah, you can still see the straws. They're just there at the top. Sorry, awkward moment. Okay, so this cake is essentially done, except for the sprinkles, which I am going to go ahead and do. I bought several different sprinkles and made a mixture because I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted. I wanted them all to be pretty and girly and cute, and other than that I didn't really know. So, oh, straw trash, I'm just going to throw it in the sink. I'm going to put the sprinkles in a plate, some of them, not all of them. Okay. Then I'm going to just pick up my cake. And I'm going to hold it over the plate and just pick up the sprinkles and just push them on. It doesn't matter if some of them are higher than others. Tater is down here under my feet going crazy because I'm dropping sprinkles everywhere. He came running. I have sprinkles on me too. So yeah, just gonna all the way around. And the reason I didn't put all the sprinkles in the plate was because if I did, I wouldn't have enough sprinkles for the top. I've seen people do this with a spoon. I've never figured out how to do that, so oops. It sounds like BB's falling in here. Okay. Good enough. Let's gonna set it down. Get my other cake out. And I'm showing you all of my awkwardness when I make a cake. Put this one on here. Set this. Every door handle in my kitchen is going to have to be washed because I'm pretty sure there's icing on all of them. So I'm going to set this on this plate because I don't want a refrigerator full of sprinkles. So. There's a few rogue sprinkles. Not really much I can do about that. It happens. I told Joe this morning it's going to take me a week to get all the sprinkles out of the floor. So, okay. Double check my... Sorry, I have to wash my hands. Okay, well, I don't know how long my camera hasn't been recording, so... I heard it beep, I went and looked, and nothing was happening. I don't know if you've got any of this. But, you know what? I can't go back and do it over. Okay, I could, but it is not going to happen. So anyway. I don't think I've had a cake fight me as much as this one is in quite a while. Not sure. I'm not sure why it's fighting so hard, but definitely is. Okay. All right, let's start taking some of this off. I'm gonna wash this again. And just a tip, if you're having problems with your icing not being as smooth as you would like it to be, and if your icing is sticking to your knife, your palette knife, or your spatula, whatever you're using, dip it in hot water. And a hot spatula makes all the difference in the world. It will definitely help out and cause you less heartache, that's for certain. And get my thumb in there to get hold of it so it doesn't spin on me. Okay, now I'm going to do the top. I just had some really big, thick spots that I wanted to get rid of. Okay, see if I can start taking some of this down. I'm going to turn it really slow since the cake is scooting with me. Kind of did that with the last one, but not as bad as this one. I just want to be careful that I don't push it off in the floor, or off of the. Got some plastic showing over here. I don't like that. And cover that up. Like I said, I don't have to get as tight against the cake at the bottom because it's going to have sprinkles. So I'm just trying to really even things out. And I don't know, there's a point where it just tells you that it's done and you just have to listen and walk away. Otherwise, you would literally just rip the cake to shreds. Because you can take it off and put it on and take it off and put it on all day long. Cake's only going to handle so much of that, so. I think we're good. Smooth this out just a hair. I have a cake topper to put on and a name to go somewhere. Move this bowl. Don't need it anymore. And I'm going to try to make it a little easier on myself this time and put it a little lower in the plate. It's easier to do with the small one. The bigger one, it would have been difficult to do it this way. So I do have more if I need them. I think I have company coming, so I will cut this off and I will be back in just a minute. Okay, so here is the final product. Well, mostly. It still has to be put together, which I'm not going to do until I get there. And it still has to have a cake topper. My drips aren't perfect. Had a little bit of a hard time with them. But they're there. And maybe a few more on this one. But yeah, so tomorrow I'll deliver it, put it together, put the topper on. And that was that. So thank you guys for coming along today and sharing this little cake decorating experience. Would love it if you would subscribe to my channel, like this video, and leave me a comment. See y'all next time.